Sam Battlefields here. Thanks for joining me on my journey into CLA coaching, etc. I got the opportunity this morning to just coach from the sidelines, which was great. Main reason being is because I am about to go to the physio. My arm is short. Not really sure what happened to it, but my left elbow is absolutely ruined. I can't I don't know if you can see, don't worry about it. But essentially, I can't put it close to my chest. Well, I can put it close to my chest, but I can't basically, you know how your wrist can pretty much touch your shoulder? I can't get anywhere near that. And that got exacerbated on the weekend. Got taken out. But anyway, today's session we are still working on kind of a half guard type phase, and part of this phase. So last week we did what you want to have if you're on top of half guard, right? So we actually started our half guard journey in the worst half guard position and tried to get out of it, right? And for the person on top, just tried to get to a dominant position. Now, I mean, if you have an underhook, if you have a crossface, and you've got their shoulders flat on the ground, then you are already in a dominant position. We already know this. This isn't fucking rocket science. However, trying to get that back, like the underhook at the very least, try and get that underhook back. Trying to get the hips on the floor as well, either side. So, what does that result in? Destabilization, all that kind of stuff. Now, this week we started with an underhook, so pretty deep underhook. And in fact, I wanted them to be as deep as possible. I brought some attentional focus to just how connected you are to the hips midway through the class when you have your underhook all the way over their back and connecting to their hips. But yeah, there was, because I wasn't able to actually partake, I got the opportunity to sort of coach from the sidelines and that sort of thing, which was really, really cool to watch. And it was really cool talking to Levi afterwards, because there was Will, and and some of the stuff that was emerging, it's just really, really cool fucking jiu-jitsu stuff, right? And that stuff that's emerging is it's just some really cool sweeps, and destabilizing, and then going one way and pulling back the other way, and creating opportunities for these actions, right? And Levi was like, I've watched all of the Danaher series. I've done the classes. I've been shown these things. Will hasn't, and yet he goes off and does these things anyway. And it's so funny because, it's like that thing, how are we ever going to do these things if we've never been shown them before? And it's because they fucking emerge when you self-organize around that fucking, that task, right? And anyway, Will's guard passing, just since last week, we brought a couple of things to his attention about, he was doing a lot of pressure passing. So we said, hey, maybe try and go around or through rather than crush. Now, a lot of the reason why he'd be doing the crush stuff is because of me. He'd see that that's what I do. And anyway, he started doing this, doing sort of, not necessarily Toriendos, but all sorts of different sort of around the top. And one thing that popped up, I was seeing that he was trying to go to side control, and so Levi was getting his legs back in really easily, and I said, get to north-south. And he immediately passed using north-south as the North Star, let's call it. And anyway, I was giggling on the sideline, sort of saying, aim for the moon, and you'll land among the stars, sort of thing. Which is, if you aim for fucking north-south, you might get side control. So anyway, that was really cool. And then afterwards, we were having a bit of a chat about. That's right. I started doing some in the free rolling portion. I started doing some coaching of him directly, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, Levi," and he's like, "No, it's good, it's good." So it was good to get my sort of coaching chops, I suppose, up a little bit. And anyway, as in my queuing while live, I think is the best way to sort of call it. Queuing while live, cues while live. So anyway, I've taken a few notes. Here, but after the class, so we were talking about those cues and etc. And Will sort of said, "Oh yeah, there was one cue that you said," and I knew exactly which one he was talking about. I was like, I'd said, "Put your knee to his hip," and he was like, "Oh, but if I do that, I'm going to give up my control." And then he was like, then I just saw him sort of self-organize, and he got his hip to Levi's hip, which had the exact same effect that I was looking for the knee to affect, which was immobilize or control the hip. So we were talking about, what could we use as a cue, and he said, well, just, keep it simple, like control, attack, defend, escape, and then have, the individual, control the hips, control the arm, control the leg. And I then had an additional sort of focus there where I went, well, there was something that I saw that he was doing in the role that I couldn't quite cue away. And I was like, how do I fucking cue this up, so that he understands what I'm talking about? And I mean, because I wasn't thinking as fast as I needed to be, I the time had passed, and so I didn't have the opportunity to cue properly. But afterwards, I was like, yeah, I should have just said control the top leg, right? Because he was focused on the bottom leg, control the top leg, and so yeah, I'm really going to explore this, but explore this as a way to cue in the future, because it makes a lot of sense. I've got to explore it further, but what I found interesting was this was done by a student who has had, and we were talking about it, who has had kind of very little traditional indoctrination, right? And by that I mean he hasn't had much internal cueing. He hasn't had much, traditional focused technique-based coaching, where someone would say, get a De La Riva, get a Kimura, and it got me thinking oh shit, yeah, what can I do to improve that? So and then I was talking to Levi afterwards, where it's okay, I wanted to have a nomenclature that allowed me to cue my athletes, cue my athletes, where Greg would have, Greg Souders would have had, where he'd be in where he'd be in a competition or whatever, and the opposition wouldn't know what he was referring to. So, I suppose the cat's out of the bag with a lot of that stuff now. But just going, instead of going Kimura, and then the person locked down that Kimura, it'd be like, attack the arm, because there's multiple ways to attack an arm if you are in a position to attack a Kimura. You know what I mean? And that's why I really like Will's unindoctrinated sort of cues, and it's a very ecological sort of it's a very ecological dynamics driven is maybe not the right word, but a very ecological dynamics sort of result. He's been in traditional approach for a few months, and at this stage, in ecological dynamics or the constraints-led approach for a couple of years, and his thinking is just maybe not completely, but mostly unencumbered by what is essentially an outdated pedagogy, andragogy, which is so fucking cool. I love it. Anyway, I'm doing a bit of rambling now. I felt like I was on point while I was in the gym. I'd love to do more kind of in the gym where I'm on point, but usually I have to get to work, and today I have to get to the physio and see if I can fix this arm so I can keep training. Anyway, Sam Battlefields, war and peace.